Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? Hey everybody, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. Hope you're having a good weekend. You guys hear me talk a lot about massive imperfect action. I also say, done is better than perfect. And every other little truism or little cute phrase I can think of that points us in the direction of just do it, just put it out there, ship it, right? I think there's a book called Ship It by Seth Godin, or it's I don't know. It's out there, and I've done that with my life, and it's important. So perfection is the enemy of good and all that kind of stuff, right? So yesterday, I did not publish a podcast. It's so sad. It is currently March 18th, and starting on January 1, I have done one every single day in a row. I should have added up how many days it's been in a row, but I don't know, 2.5 months worth so far. And I missed it. And what happened was the day got away from me, and I was busy. I didn't have any batched or pre-recorded. And then I had date night with my wife. And I decided I was not going to cut out a chunk of date night to make a podcast, because that's insanity, right? Because the goal of me doing this is to hold myself accountable, to keep me engaged, keep my eye on the ball, right? And add lots of value to you guys who listen. But it doesn't have to be perfect. And, even though I do strive and hold a high bar just like you do, it's going to happen. Like, you're going to mess up. I wish I could have made it further before I missed a day, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, unless I choose to allow it to matter, right? So I think it's important to remember as we ramp up into the spring that the systems that you've built this winter, the things you've put in place, the perfect marketing plan you've designed, when you start to deploy it and you start to live it, and something happens, there's a speed bump, or you make a mistake, or someone on your team makes a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Big, beautiful, organized, systemized companies start out messy, and they just gradually get less messy as they go. And even a podcast like this, where I want to 10x our listener base and reach more people and have more influence and all that, it's gonna happen over the long haul, whether I miss a day or I don't miss a day or any of that stuff, right? Does that make sense? But it has a lot to do with being impatient. People that are hyper-perfectionists, they don't actually do enough stuff. They don't deploy enough new ideas. They don't take enough massive action because they're scared that it's not perfect, right? And then other people that do things very imperfectly sometimes can take massive action and actually get better results with really messed up imperfect action than someone who's really, really strategic and thoughtful in what they do. It's kind of weird, right? You could have like someone that's competing in your market against you who is inferior to you in terms of what they're able to do compared to you, but they could actually win as a business. But you need to have patience, because these things do take time. I'm not naturally a very patient person, so I want things to happen right now. I was telling my wife last night on date night, I'm like, because our goal is to make $2 million in net profit this year, and through my companies. And that's a lot for us. And I was talking to her, and I'm like, I could just do 1 million. Like, is it bad if we did 1 million? That doesn't seem bad. Like, the goals we set are arbitrary in our brain. And a lot of times we try to do huge, at least me, I'm speaking to myself, I want to accomplish huge things really quick. Like right now, let's go. And it can put a lot of pressure on myself, and you can put pressure on yourself by doing that. Just remember that you are in control, and to try to enjoy the journey. And last night when it was like 11 o'clock, I was thinking, I could try to bang out a podcast. And I thought, no, it's fine. It doesn't matter. And I can just talk about how I didn't do it on tomorrow's podcast, which is what I'm doing now. And then the other thing I wanted to share with everybody is I watched this Gary Vaynerchuk video on Facebook. He was talking about how the top 1% of income earners make $400,000 a year. And it was lower than what I thought. I think most people think, the top 1% make millions and millions and millions in annual income. But it's 400,000. So I Googled it. I'm on a CNBC.com article that says, let me read this to you. It was the A 2013 Economic Policy Institute report found that to reach the threshold of the top 1% of income earners in the U.S., you need to make $389,436 a year or more to be in the 1%. And so I thought it was really interesting because especially young people right now, they're trying to figure out, how do I make $1 million? How do I make this? How do I do this? When really, like, if you make $400,000, that is a lot of money. I mean, really, like even for me personally, when you look at like actual personal income, and it varies where you live, in the country, but let's say that you made $20,000 a month in personal income. You can pretty much live any kind of life that you want with $20,000 a month, and that's only $240,000 a year, right? So $400,000, and you're in the top 1% of the United States, not even counting the rest of the world, right? So I don't know. I feel like we need to think a little more long term and also realize that we're not comparing ourselves to anybody else, and it's okay if it takes a few years to get what you want. But if you want to be in the top 1% of annual income earners, and your business kicks off let's just say a 20% net margin, right? You need to have a $2 million business, right? If you have a $2 million business in revenue and your average customer is worth, I don't know, $750 a year, let's say. It's going to be different for everybody. That'd be 2 million. Keep hitting the wrong button, sorry. Divided by $750. So you need 2,666 customers per year to have a $2 million business with a 20% margin to make $400,000 for yourself, right? And if you give yourself 7 years to create this, right? That's only 381 customers a year. Divided by 12 months, it's 32 customers a month. If you can go get 32 of those customers every month and keep them happy and play the long game for 6-7 years, it's game over, right? I don't know. I just think we got to keep our eye on the ball and not panic if something goes wrong, not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And remember that probably most of you listening to this already have massive, massive amounts of blessing and just wealth compared to a lot of people around you. And not to mention the flexibility of having your own business anyway. Even though it's a nightmare sometimes and it's stressful, you can do whatever you want, right? Like, I didn't have to make a podcast because I don't have a boss for my podcast. I can do whatever I want with my podcast. I could stop doing it tomorrow. I could do more of them tomorrow. I could change the format of it. I can do whatever I want. It's limited to my own creativity. And that by itself is a huge benefit. So, I don't know. I want to encourage you to take massive imperfect action. Don't beat yourself up if there's a speed bump, because it really doesn't matter. And just to remember how blessed and fortunate you are right now with what you have right now. Because there's people out there that would chop their left arm off to have what you already have. Think about that. Stop comparing your actual messy life to other people's highlight reels and comparing yourself to people you see online and all these fake stories. None of it's real. Do what you got to do to serve your family. And even if you want to go for massive amounts of income and make $1 bajillion, it's not that crazy to do it, right? $400,000 a year and you are elite. You're officially a 1%er. Maybe people will sit on your front lawn and protest you, right? I don't know. Anyway, take care, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. God bless.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.